Hello everyone, good morning to all of you, and yet another episode of live session with Nedu's Academy. We are back with it. This is Anne with you, and today, being a Thursday, we are going forward with our writing precision live. Okay, hope that you are all safe wherever you are, and good. You and your family members are keeping good, right? Okay, so let's start our live session with a briefing on writing what we are discussing from the past sessions, right? Whenever you are practicing writing, you know that you have got task 1 and task 2, right? And when it comes to general and academic, task 1 is different, task 2 is the same for both the candidates. So whenever you're practicing your writing module activities, take care that you do it in a particular manner, right? You need to take care of the vocabulary, the way you write. Writing and practicing is the best way to practice. Instead of just reading essays or reading letters or reading reports, different kinds of reports, it's always better that you take a question first, okay? Get an ideation for it. Don't go to the sample answer first, whether it's an essay, report or a letter. Take a question sample, maybe from an IDP, Cambridge, or an Ielts sources, and then after that, once you take the question, before going to the sample answer, try it yourself, maybe form an ideation, okay, when it comes to an essay or maybe a report or a letter, right? Once you form your ideation, after that write a rough essay for the same, and then after that put it for evaluation with someone, or if do a self evaluation with a sample answer. Okay, that is something which will help you to understand what your weaknesses are or what is something which you lack and you have to cover up, right? Just reading through samples is not going to help you remember the things, okay, or maybe the way of writing. Remembering means you cannot by heart any answers, definitely, but maybe the format or how the ideas are, right? So it's always well if you practice yourself, right? So when it comes to writing, like I told you, it's general and academic, and we have started with task 1. From a couple of sessions back, we have started with task 1 of academic. We had an overview of what is a task 1 for both general and academic candidates, and from the previous session we had started with the task 1 for academic candidates, right? We know that it's a report writing, or also called as a summary writing, and there are various kinds of diagrams on which a report has to be written, right? So we are taking one by one. Now we are going to start today with a bar graph, okay? You will be able to see on the screen the details of the bar graph, what we are going to discuss today, okay? And then after that we are going to get a sample answer to get it solved, right? So on the screen you can see that we are starting with the description of bar graph. Now bar graph is something which we are all familiar with, right? Because in school we have all done in a mathematics a bar chart, a bar diagram. It was in a very simple manner wherein you had to just analyze the bar diagram and answer some questions. But you know how a bar diagram looks, right? Normally a bar diagram is something which looks like this. It has got a x-axis and it has got a y-axis, and then after that you have got some bars, right? Right? It can be a vertical bar, at the same time it can be something which is like this also. Okay, so either ways a bar graph can come for you in the report. A report has got, last session we told, has various types of diagrams. We have got a bar graph, we have got a line graph, we have got a pie chart, we have got a table, process, we have got a map, and also combination chart. So these are the diagrams these are the various diagrams on which you have to write a report. And to say which is common, I would say all are common. You cannot say that something is rare or something maybe not be a part of your question paper. All the questions when it comes to all the diagrams in report are the most common ones. So you have to be thorough with every kind of diagram when you write a report, right? So we're starting with bar diagram, bar graph, as I told you. It is a common question. Okay, it is not something we cannot say won't be a part of your question sheet. It can be as an individual question also, or maybe it can come as a combination chart. Combination chart are wherein a bar, pie, line or a table can, 2 questions from either of these 4 can be put into your combination chart, right? Now, when being a task 1, for every task 1 report, the time which you have to take is 20 minutes, right? The time given to you is 20 minutes because total writing task is for 60, wherein 40 is for task 2 and 20 is for task 1, right? This is what it is about. Okay, now in this 20 minutes, you have to allocate a few minutes in the beginning to plan your report. Plan your report means analyzing a question is very important. When you have a diagram in front of you, you need to study the diagram. You have to take some seconds and study the diagram. The labels, what information it is presenting, and all those kind of things has to be studied. You have to read the question at least once or twice to understand, right? Because we are going to write a report on the basis of that. So you have to allocate that, and towards the end of the report, after you finish writing, before submitting it, right, you need to have at least 1 or 2 minutes to proofread the report. That is also very important. That is, rechecking your report is also very important. You have to check for some typing errors, maybe some spelling mistake if you're going for writing test, or maybe some grammatical errors, for punctuation errors, your capital letters, and so on. So that is also important. So this time management has to be done for this 20 minutes. Okay, word count. Word count is minimum 150 words, right? Your report has to have at least 150 words, which is mandatory. You have to write at least 150. It's a 150 word report will be mentioned in your question itself, right? Now, if you're going beyond 150, we will say keep it within 150 to 180, because you don't have time too much. Now, if it goes to 185, nothing is going to happen. You can write a 185 word report also, but it's always suggested. It is not mandated. It is suggested that try to keep it between 150 and 180 so that it doesn't look very overgeneralized, or maybe your time is not wasted. Time constraint is there, that's what. That is a word count, right? What is assessed? Okay, now what is assessed is, this is a very objective way of writing. It's a formal, right? It's a formal report, right? It's a formal, objective way of writing, right? So when you write a report, take care that you use corresponding language for that, right? You cannot be narrative. There is nothing like an opinion for you here. Nothing is I think, I can see, or I believe, right? Nothing is your opinion like you write in an essay. It is complete and objective way of writing. You have been given a diagram and some information regarding the same, and you have to write a report in minimum 150 words. Now, once you write that report, okay, if any person who is reading that report, he is to make a rough bar graph out of that report what you have written. That means you have succeeded. So that is a compact, concise, objective way of writing when it comes to a report, either of the reports, right? You are assessed for your language, okay, how concisely you are able to write in a very formal manner. That is the main thing. It is assessed. Marking rubrics, we had discussed last session that it is, first is your task achievement, then comes your coherence and cohesion, your vocabulary, that is lexical resources, and then your grammar range. Okay, equal weightage for each. You will get a band for each, which is added up, divided by 4, which will give you a task 1 band. And task 1 band has got a weightage of 1/3. When your writing band is calculated, it is calculated once. Doesn't make it less important. You have to pay attention to that also. Okay, so this is the basics about the bar graph when you write a bar graph. Now, coming to the type of charts, type of bar charts. Now, how many, like I told you, it can be either a vertical bar or it can be a horizontal bar. It can be single year information, it can be multiple years information. So when it comes, mainly it's called as static or dynamic. Now static itself, wherein it's the information is not like it's for a single year, wherein there is no time period, there is no time referred to. Okay, like in the course of time, it's not there. It is only, for example, this bar graph, it shows post school qualification Australia for the year 1999. The information has been taken, the comparisons have been done between the qualification, the courses, and between two labels, female and male. Two genders have been taken, the comparison between two genders and the courses they choose, right? This one, skill vocational diploma, undergraduate diploma, bachelor's, postgraduate, and master's. So comparison between these two genders, okay, and then which course is taken by which gender, by what percentage, okay. But the information is only for 1 year. The information is not changing for a time period. Okay, the percentage, the highest number, the lowest number, that is. So in this kind of bar graphs, which is called a static bar graph, you will have no time reference, right? Corresponding years will not be there. It's a fixed time, that means it's for a single year. Okay, the main features are the highest numbers and the lowest numbers for the labels which are given to you. The comparisons will be done between the labels which are given to you and the highest, lowest, or the similar numbers. That is what you have to check in this type of graph. This can be a part of your graph, vertical or horizontal. Second one is dynamic, wherein there are multiple years. Like in this one, it is got 1995, 2000, 2001 and 2002. Okay, so the informations have been taken for these corresponding years from 1995 to 2002. Okay, and there are 4 labels which are mentioned. It's light blue, dark blue, the darkest blue and the grey. So it shows your writing, reading, speaking and listening. So it's a percentage of people maybe who read, listen, write and speak. Okay, so like we have got 4 modules. Okay, but the data is changing with the passage of time. Like in 1995 you can say grey is for reading. In 1995 the percentage was about 90%, but when you look at 2002 it is almost less than 30%. Okay, so that change has happened with the passage of time. Okay, so it shows the data over time and specific changes happen during the passage of this time. Okay, that is called a dynamic dot. So this in simple language, a single year graph and a multiple years graph. That is the 2 types of graph which comes in front of you. Okay, for your exam. Okay, so these are the type of bar charts. Okay, now coming to, like I told you, it's vertical or horizontal. It has got 2 axes. It has got a x-axis and it has got a y-axis. Generally, when it comes to the x-axis, which shows, generally it shows the time period. Okay, most of the time it shows the time period, and y will be mostly your measuring unit. Okay, it can be either a percentage or any numbers in terms of maybe rupees, number of people, points and so on, right? It can be anything, and here it comes a number of years. So you have to take it all into reference. The labels have to be considered. Like in this graph you can see there are labels like male and female and the courses. Okay, and then it has got the percentages which is mentioned from 0 to 100%, the percentage of people who choose a particular course, male or female. Right, so you have to take all this into consideration when you write your graph. Nothing should be ignored. That's why we say in the beginning, when you get that question in front of you, analyze that graph very clearly. Okay, it helps you to write the introduction and your overview part very clearly. Okay, so that is how a bar graph looks and some basic things about the bar graph. Okay, now going forward, the main thing, structure. Okay, now you're writing a report, a 150-word report. You cannot just write, starting from the first sentence, last sentence, 1 para. You have to keep a format for that, which makes it easier for you also and easier for the evaluator also to understand what you're trying to present. Right? Writing itself is a way of communication wherein they have asked you something and you are telling them the reply of that in writing. So they should be able to understand it. Then only they will be able to give you desired band. Nitin.